What's up, guys? Welcome back to Lights on F1 podcast. I'm Patrick, that's Claire, and we had Qatar this weekend. What are your
Oh,
thoughts
you
on?
need to introduce Louis.
Oh yeah, and this is Louis. He hasn't been on since I don't know, like episode 6.
Uh-huh.
But the Formula Frenchie's back.
Yes. All right. Yes, Qatar.
What are your thoughts on the
Great
race?
race.
Yeah.
Interesting race. Yeah, I mean, I was confused as to the tire situation,
Mhm.
as to if it was necessary or not, and we were texting back and forth. You saying it's necessary. I'm like, I don't know. It just kind of gave away strategies somehow. You knew
Kind
when
of.
someone had to pit.
Well, you kind of knew. I mean, like some people. The thing is, the safety car at the start of the race kind of jumbled things up a little bit because some people who started off on the soft tires to get a good start, like pitted super early. And
Yeah.
some people were pitting on off laps. So like Yuki Tsunoda came in on lap 9, when he had another 11 laps of 9 laps of tire life to go. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's
Did
what
it work
probably
out
happened.
for him?
I mean, he wasn't
No.
up in a high position anyways. It was really him
Yeah.
and Alex Albon kind of battling it back and forth. But um, yeah, I don't know. It seems like it added a new element that we normally don't get because most of the time the strategy with most people is the same. It's like one stop because the tires last long enough. But in
Mm-hmm.
this case, it didn't. So.
Yeah. It was a good race. I mean, McLaren's my team. We got a 2-3 double podium.
Mm-hmm.
Good result. Weekend. Oscar winning the sprint race. Phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
My heart goes out to Lando. He's played second string this weekend. Very difficult, very tough on himself. Unnecessarily so, I believe. But that's kind of what you have to do to be an F1 driver and
Mm-hmm.
to push yourself to be a better driver. He definitely had the potential, but he did make mistakes this weekend. Very, very disappointing for him
Yeah.
to be passed by the rookie teammate, the wonderful Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, I mean, so let's just start off with qualifying. What are your thoughts on initial qualifying?
The initial qualifying was interesting. That was so long ago. That was on
Friday.
Friday. Yeah. That was a big shakeup. What with Checo and Carlos getting knocked out early on.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting to see them running, you know, on a track that they hadn't run much time on with practice. I liked it. I think I liked the sprint shootout better, that
Yeah,
qualifying.
that makes sense.
Um, but yeah, it was pretty good.
I think qualifying has been the like highlight of the year rather than the races. It feels like there haven't been very many like super good races this year. So
Yeah.
qualifying has really taken the place of that. But um, yeah, I mean, you already talked about the sprint. So sprint shootout was really good. Oscar Piastri lighting up on pole.
Yep.
Um, and then Lando was right behind him. I think they said he was like 4.5 tenths up before he overshot the last corner. So
Yeah.
unfortunate there, but Oscar
Yeah.
Piastri also won. Yeah.
Lando got a lot of track limits this weekend, but thankfully during the race today he kept it on track. Didn't get any penalties. But yeah, they were throwing out track penalties, track limits penalties back and forth, like left and right. Like it was just
Yeah.
the meme. Pew, 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 pew.
I don't know. I mean, it's a track very similar to Austria in that like it's very easy to overshoot the track. There's no danger of running into a really close wall like there are in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
traditional and street circuits. Losail has a very open track layout, so it's understandable
Yeah.
trying to push the limits. The curbs there are also like a lot bumpier and a bit more damaging than normal curbs. So even when they did overshoot them, outside of just feeling the track limits violation, they also felt it in the car. And so,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's why like you'd see cars like Fernando Alonso going off and having to drive back through the gravel, things like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, let's just start from the top down. Red Bull, Max Verstappen, Sergio
Red
Perez.
Bull. Max clinching his third World Drivers' Championship. I feel like because Jakob's not here, I have to say maybe, his second World Drivers'
Oh, you guys will
Championship.
get over it. Don't worry about it.
No, but phenomenal year for Max and Red Bull. Just crazy dominant. Kudos to him. Great way to win in on a Saturday. Putting his name in the record books for another odd fact, I guess.
Yeah.
3-time consecutive winner. Like, not that many that have done that. Puts Max in, good cement for the GOAT conversation.
Yeah. Let's see. Sergio
Checo,
Perez
though,
finishing 10th.
big disappointment. Appointment.
I mean, he had to come from the pit lane and to come through in 10th. I mean,
Well, for like what about the sprint?
the sprint is where him and Hulkenberg and Ocon came together, right?
Yes.
I don't blame that on him. None of that was his fault. Hulkenberg went for a
Yeah,
gap that
but
was
like
closing.
you don't see Max doing that
Well, that's because Max is always at the front.
because he's a good qualifier.
Yes. But looking at the situation as it is, not comparing situations that don't happen, Ocon opened up a corner that he shouldn't have. Hulkenberg went for a gap that he shouldn't have, and Checo was just a passenger to it all. So I don't blame him for that. I do blame him for poor qualifying. He isn't the fastest car. It's the exact same. They haven't upgraded that car in like 5 or 6 races, so he has the fastest car. He just isn't using the fastest car, and now he's feeling the consequences of it.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
looking down the order, then he also doesn't have to worry about Lewis getting any closer this weekend.
Not this weekend because, yeah, I mean, looking at the lap one incident of the actual race, it was Lewis's fault. We see that he's recognized it. Jakob was fuming in the group chat. Understandably so. George usually is like the person that's making those moves and those, dive bombing and not getting any space. Yeah, but I mean, Lewis did get points in the sprint where Checo did not.
Yep.
So he's getting closer. I mean, there's plenty of races for Lewis to take P2 in the standings. That'd be quite interesting. I feel like there's a stat that if Lewis dies, it'll be like it's been a long time since P2 has been taken by a driver that didn't get a win in the season. So
on that, just some fun facts for you guys. And I told you a few of these, but Max has won 3 world championships since Lewis last won a race. There have been 6 other drivers who have run a race since Lewis last won a race. But no other non-McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull, or Mercedes driver has won a race since the start of 2021, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. And I mean, it shows some insane consistency from Lewis, the fact that he's, competing for P2 in the Drivers' Championship without having won a race. And he actually doesn't have as many podiums as Lando either, which is kind of wild. So he's just been insanely consistent this year. But today was his fault. I think there would have been a conversation probably before the race start where George would have let Lewis by at some point on the soft tire, just because we all know how fast it was falling off. But I don't think turn 1 was it.
No.
And I think Lewis got a little bit overeager on that.
Oh, definitely. The pace in the Mercedes was pretty good this today.
Definitely third place
in the main race. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for sure. But if they would have been on track position in front of the McLarens through the first lap,
I don't think it would have mattered. Lando and Oscar finished like 25 seconds ahead of George.
Well, because George had an extra pit stop.
Okay, still, like it was under a safety car, what cuts that out by like 13 seconds. That's just too big of a gap. Even if you're Lewis, the McLarens are just way faster than the Aston Martins, the Ferraris, the Mercedes, they're definitively second place and by a landslide.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see them try to go for what is it, P4 in the championship?
Yeah.
Because they definitely deserve it with the progress they've made this year.
Yeah. Next up would be Ferrari. They did not outscore. Well, I guess both Ferrari and Mercedes both had a car out. Ferrari before the race started, and Lewis on lap one. So it was really just seeing who can
Yes.
get more points between Charles and George, who got fifth and fourth respectively. So Mercedes still staying out of touching range of Ferrari for now. But I mean, kind of unfortunate for Carlos. I feel like he was one of those drivers that I was expecting to be able to come back through the field. He's had an awesome second half of the year.
Yeah, disappointing. Just heartbreaking for him.
Mhm.
Something totally out of his control.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks when the car isn't performing or there's an issue with it. We didn't even get to see like what he could do. Yeah, his commentary like during practice and quali was pretty good this weekend. Commenting on the sandy conditions and his dad who was a rally driver. So thought that was good. I enjoyed that this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, not much to talk about for Ferrari. I mean, Charles with a pretty quiet race to fifth, so and
Yeah, and he fell back, came back. It was interesting.
yeah. Aston Martin.
Aston Martin. Whew. It's just been tough for them. Stroll's unreliable. I cannot believe his attitude this weekend.
Yeah.
Just getting so angry after poor qualifying sessions. Pushing over his trainer, throwing the steering wheel out of his car. That's just so immature, and it only happens when a driver can get away with it because their father owns the team. That is unacceptable behavior from an F1 driver. Where there's no consequences. So it's not a good situation, and after a certain point, it becomes a joke that he's still in F1 acting like that. I know, but like even more so where you just go, how can you even get into business with Lawrence Stroll? Like that's his judgment that he just like lets his son waste money. I don't know.
Off that though, Fernando Alonso got P6 today, so I think that was a maximum result. Even like some people were saying he could have gotten P5 if he wouldn't have gone off the road, but I'm like, no, the Ferrari was faster. He was catching him, so I mean, still a solid result though.
Yeah, definitely a solid result for the weekend they've had. The car is just not where they want it right now. They went in the wrong direction, it seems. So.
McLaren we already talked about, so not much there. I mean.
All right, let's just recap. Oscar, sprint race winner.
Sprint pole.
Pole position. Sprint pole.
Second sprint pole, actually. He got it in Belgium, too.
Yeah. And then, starting, they had poor qualifying for the race, but managed to come back through the field.
He was up to second place by the end of the first lap.
Yeah, he was. That was phenomenal. He just avoided all of the Mercedes drama and just drove through.
Yep.
I was like, oh gosh, Lewis, I see your wheel spinning away, but this is so good for the McLarens. So I was torn for sure.
Yep. But Lando and Oscar coming through 2 and 3.
Yeah, Lando had a tough weekend, as we touched already. It's hard to see him like that with the opportunity there with the car. But this is his third consecutive podium, I believe. So can't be too upset. But he does. That race win is coming, and he needs to get that soon for his morale and belief in himself, I believe.
I think with that as well, let me check real quick. In the Drivers' Championship,
He's like really close to George
Yep.
or
He actually
Charles or something.
passed up George, and he's 9 points behind Charles.
Let's
So he
go.
might actually end out something higher than seventh place in the Drivers' Championship.
That would be chef's kiss. I love that.
On to next, Alpine.
Ooh,
That was a
that
great
French team.
overtake at the end of the race against Checo by Pierre. But
Yes.
he ended up falling
Well,
back, and I don't know how.
because he overtook, I think, off
Off the track against Lance Stroll.
off the track for Stroll. He got a penalty, I think, for track limits.
That's where it is then. He was
Yeah,
ahead of
so
Stroll and Perez on track, but I guess it took it away from him.
I think, yeah. So a lot of penalties going on there. More towards the bottom of the field, honestly. No one really was affected, or they kept their car on track. The top 6, I mean, except for Fernando, I guess, but he didn't get a penalty. Yeah.
And then Esteban scoring, he got 7th place.
Oh.
Gives him 6 points.
Yeah. Also, I saw that Esteban, he got sick in his helmet on lap 15, but still continued on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I gotta point out Fernando and his commentary on how hot his seat was.
Oh yeah.
I found that funny. Look, it is so warm what they're dealing with.
Pour water on me or something, like, please.
Yeah, I would have liked to see that, but he just had to suffer through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up is Williams, sitting in 7th. They scored 2 points during the sprint after Checo fell back 2 places, and they didn't score anything during the race.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Logan, I think he had the flu earlier in the week, or flu-like symptoms or something, and the heat and dehydration just kind of got to him. That's just kind of like his season overall. Like, he either crashes out or he's just showing that he's a rookie, I suppose, in a way that, like, Oscar isn't. So, yeah, I don't know. That's disappointing for him, definitely. But Alex had a great weekend. I think he got the most out of the cars he could. As Jakob said, he would take Alex as Lewis's teammate over George right now. So that's a big step up in his mind for Alex. Yes.
Advocate of George, but
yes.
also a person who can't get past Lewis. He's lost in 2021. So next up is Alfa Romeo, who actually had a double points finish today.
Crazy. I mean, Valtteri had a good qualifying in the sprint yesterday, I believe, but I don't know if he ended up in the points. But definitely, like, close there.
Yeah.
So I think Alfa Romeo was liking this track in these conditions.
Well, they also brought a massive update
more so than others
in Japan, and they weren't seeing it work, but for some reason it's just working this weekend.
Yeah, it's good. They need it. It's been a very, very tough season for them.
Yeah, so they leapfrogged over Haas for 8th place after getting 6 points, which is kind of wild to say, but, like, the bottom of the table is so much more fun to watch because, like, every individual point matters so much.
Yeah. Alex got his 23rd point this season for the team. Number 23. 2023. Good, just good vibes.
Yeah. Let's see. Moving down, Haas. It was their last race. Bless you. It was their last race without a
Thanks.
without the upgrade. So 2 weeks from now, they will have a gargantuan upgrade package that's supposed to it's basically a new car at that point.
They do need a new car.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's not fantastic because Williams have come out and said that they're not bringing any more updates for the season.
No more? Like, just none?
All their focus is entirely on their 2024 car.
Okay. Yeah. Well, James Vowles knows what he's doing. Yeah. So
honestly, as long as we don't end out P10, I'm happy. Even if it's P9 or P8, I'm okay with that.
I don't see them dropping down to P9 because, well, just the amount of points they have, and I don't, Alex has done very well, and he'll continue to do the best he can. Logan, I don't think he's going to score any points. I would be surprised.
Keep my fingers crossed. Lastly, AlphaTauri, kind of just non-existent. Liam Lawson
Yeah,
is the last of the finishers. Yuki Tsunoda is 15th, so it's just not much from them.
it was a tough weekend, definitely. Lawson's still just thrown into the F1 car. It's a tricky track for all of them, and then make him a rookie. Saw with Logan his issues. Oscar right now is in a different league of these rookies. We forget he is a rookie.
I think Oscar's the least rookie-like one out of them. And
Yeah.
also, I mean, it's hard to compare Oscar's performances to any of the other rookies just given the caliber of car he's in.
Okay.
Yeah. Not saying that Logan would do better than Oscar because he did lose out to him when they were on the same team in Formula 3. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, I think that year he lost by like 2 points to him. But yeah, Oscar is honestly probably the most talented driver on the grid right now. Oscar has got to be probably one of the most talented drivers to come into F1 in the last like 4 years. Um,
Yeah.
I think if you put him, Robert Schwartzman, Felipe Drugovich, and Liam Lawson, those four are probably like the next like generation of drivers, if you will. Before that, of course, was Alex Albon, George Russell, Lando Norris, and Charles Leclerc. They all came in at the same time. And then before that, it's hard to say it like this, but uh, Max, Carlos, and I don't want to say Pierre because it doesn't seem right, but Max and Carlos were like the next like two earlier ones to come
Mm-hmm.
in. But Oscar is definitely showing why people wanted him. And
Yeah.
while I still don't like the way that it all happened, he's a very phenomenal driver. And quite
Yeah.
frankly, I think he's probably a driver that's going to win a world championship at some point.
I don't know if I would have been backing him this hard at the beginning of the season, but results don't lie. He definitely showing up for McLaren and
He just shows out
showing
so
he deserves to
fast.
be there.
Like,
Yes.
so as a quick history of him, he started off with RC cars. His dad owns HP Tuners, and so
Okay.
he started off with RC cars, won multiple championships there. He got bored of that, goes to karting, wins everything
Mm-hmm.
there. He gets bored of that, so he goes to Formula 4, wins it first try. Formula 3 wins it first try. Formula 2 wins it first try, and of course spent a year with Alpine, where they give him 5,000 kilometers of practice in a 2021 sprint
Mm-hmm.
car, and then now he's already winning his first sprint race in F1.
Yeah, he won't win the championship because that's already been decided.
Yeah,
But that was never gonna be a
no. Quite frankly,
no.
even next year, I don't think there's gonna be many people that are, unless McLaren like do something even more with this car, which I mean every team's going to, but I still don't see very many people very close to Max.
Can we just talk about how like small the gap was to Max this race? Like it never got to be like that big.
Yeah, it was I want to say 8 seconds, and Oscar kept he
Yeah,
was like going lap for
something
lap
like
with
that.
Max. So, um,
Love to see it.
yeah, you like to see it, but at the same time, it's kind of like it's still Max being Max. I don't think the gap was ever to close down, and towards the end of the race, it was just tire management for Max rather than going for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I don't know. It's tough. I think if you put a Mercedes behind Max, the gap would have been probably like 40 seconds. If you put a Ferrari
Yeah.
behind Max, the gap probably would have been 40 seconds. Actually, I think the gap was around that time for them. So,
Mm.
um, really, it's a very definitive like Red Bull obviously is top, but as far as like which car is the second best currently and probably to the end of the year, it's gonna be McLaren. Also, if McLaren keep up with these results, and I'm doing my maths correctly, right now they're at 219 points, so they're only 11 points off of Aston Martin. So next race they're going to leapfrog them in the order.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but let me
Perfect.
check the standings real quick. Ferrari have 298 points, which is roughly 80 points ahead of McLaren. McLaren are scoring 18 and 15 points a race, getting second and third, which is 33 points total.
Mhm.
And Ferrari are scoring on average 10 to 18 points, which is a 15-point deficit. That's 75 points minimum that McLaren will get towards Ferrari at the end of the
Mhm.
season. So they have a potential to leapfrog Ferrari at the end of it if they can keep getting 2-3 finishes.
Per P3.
Yeah,
That would be insane.
yes. And realistically speaking, that also puts Mercedes kind of in reach for them as well, since Mercedes is only like 20 points in front of Ferrari.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
I'm excited for the rest of the season.
yeah. So McLaren have done some awesome work this year. Very excited to see like how far they go with it. But um, we have a week off. Next week is going to be another game show. So there will be prizes given out to the winner of that. Um, oh, last time we didn't get to show you guys what the prize was for the trivia, but Claire got a McLaren jacket. So
Yes.
yes. Um,
It's in my closet.
yeah. Next week there will be something else given out for whoever wins it, but we took last week off because we were all busy. So after next weekend, though, we have a triple header. We are going to Austin and then Mexico City and Brazil, which has got to be one of the most exciting triple headers actually ever. Three super exciting
Yeah,
tracks, two
definitely.
sprints.
2 sprints.
Yeah, Austin has a sprint, and then Brazil has a sprint.
Whew.
Yeah,
Brazil sprint.
it's gonna be a
That's
long, it's gonna be a long 3 weeks. Super excited for it.
the drivers are going to be tested, but that's what we love to see
Yeah.
as fans.
And then after that, another week off, and then the last two races of the season. First race ever in Las Vegas.
Hmm.
And then we go to Abu Dhabi. Um, any closing thoughts?
If you stay to the end of the episode,
Oh, um, you stayed to the end of the episode. Tell me who you think is going to be the next person besides Max to win a world championship. But until next time,
oh, it's lights out and away we go.